So in the work that I do, where I'm often referred to as Dr. Phil meets Rachel Ray, I have kind of discovered some insights into why we're not cooking, and I've developed some unique strategies to helping people learn how to cook. So let me take you back a few years into my kitchen, where I typically am, and I'm with a play date, and their mom, and I have 4 kids, so all the kids are running around in the other room. And I am serving up food, as I always am, because I love to cook, and I have tons of food in my fridge at all time. So my friend, we'll call her Christine, who's on the other end of the kitchen counter, is the happy recipient of my probably cold peanut noodles and maybe some baked brie, and I usually have some healthy dips around. And I'm serving them up to her, and as we're talking, she's baffled, and she's saying to me, how do you cook all the time with these kids? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. How do you find the time to do this? And I'm kind of surprised, because she's very intelligent, and I said, well, this was a 5-minute recipe. This just takes 5 minutes. And she says, no, it doesn't take 5 minutes. I don't understand how you do it. You're not normal. This doesn't make sense. People don't do this. So I'm on the other end feeling a little bit defensive, feeling like, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I should be reading the New York Times a little bit more, or playing with my kids on the floor more, which I'm always self-conscious about not doing. But I'm also listening with a therapist's ear to her, and I'm hearing that she's anxious, I'm hearing that she's overwhelmed, and she's a little bit defensive about cooking. So this kind of plants a seed in me. Over the years, after this, I'm always trying to help my friends learn how to cook. And some of them were very successful when I would teach them some practical strategies. They would learn something, and they would immediately be on, have a consistent cooking life. There were always a handful of other people, though, who just, no matter what I did, the easiest of recipes, they would fall off the cooking wagon, and they just couldn't seem to keep it up. And this, again, baffled me. I didn't understand, because these were successful, educated, smart women. So I started asking questions. Let's all think back to our kitchen lives as children. Who cooked? Was the food good? Was it bad? Was it flavorless? Where did we eat? Did we sit around a dining room and eat together? Or were we fragmented in the house, scattered about, watching TV, eating TV dinners? Was it joyous to be in the kitchen, or was it a very unpleasant place to be? The answers to the questions that I got were really interesting. And what I realized was that some people have psychological obstacles to cooking. And what I realized over the years was that with the people with whom I worked, these psychological obstacles to cooking crossed all socioeconomic lines. So it didn't matter if I was doing a workshop in an impoverished area in Newark, or if I was in the home of an affluent individual. People have psychological obstacles to cooking that cross all socioeconomic lines. So what I'd like to do is talk to you about some of the common obstacles that I've experienced in the work that I do. I'm too busy. I have no idea how to cook. I've had bad experiences in the kitchen. I need to be perfect. And the I'm not my mother. I don't want to be my mother, the gender conflict. Okay? So let's start with the first one. I'm too busy. The most common, the most prevalent. We all have activities competing for our time. We're a very busy culture. Cooking always falls to the bottom of the priority list because we have other things to do, and we don't need to cook because, as we all know, Pizza Hut's down the street. We can order in Chinese, or we can have some frozen foods from Trader Joe's or wherever we're shopping. So for people who do want to cook, how do you get on board? Well, as we all know, if we want to do something badly enough, we find the time in our schedule. If somebody gave us a free gift certificate for a back massage every single day, we would find the time to get that back massage every day. So how do we do this? We explore incentives to inspire. It doesn't matter if people are telling us, oh, it's so healthy, you have to be healthy, you have to do this, you have to do that. If the reasons don't resonate in your own personal life, we are not going to do it. So it's very individual. Health. For one of my clients, it might be that their son is gaining weight, he's being ridiculed in school, that's their incentive. For Jillian, saving money is paramount. Families having some struggles, I can't order it anymore. Nurturing. We might want to be a family that has the beaver cleaver, sit around the table, we're all chit-chatting while we're eating, and we want to provide these memories for our children. That might be someone else's incentive. Start with small goals. Because we're so busy, We need to take it one step at a time, one recipe per week, perhaps, to practice and practice, and this can help to not feel overwhelmed. Journal daily activities. We can have mental jotting or physical jotting down of what we do throughout the day. And again, we can always find a time where maybe we have 3 minutes when the kids are eating breakfast, where we can be prepping vegetables for later so that we're not overwhelmed at 5 o'clock when dinner starts. We might see that there's 2 minutes before we go to bed. That's enough time to steam up some broccoli for tomorrow. I have no idea how to cook. Many of us are a blank slate. We were given dinner maybe by a fabulous cook in our family, but we were never allowed in the kitchen. We might have been given a can of soup when we got home from school. How do we start the whole process? Explore and understand your learning strategies. We're bombarded with media about how to cook. We need to look inside. How do I learn best? How do I learn how to drive? Is it better if I read something or if somebody actually shows me? How do I learn how to use a Mac computer? Does somebody give me a manual, or am I overwhelmed and I need to watch somebody do it? Pay attention to your own learning strategies that help you in other aspects of your life. Try one recipe at a time. Again, this is paramount. Don't stress out over overwhelming yourself with a whole Julia Child's cookbook. And elicit help from the family. Doing it yourself does not make you a better mother or a better nurturer. If you have children, and I'm referring to women, let me just state that because most of my clients are women. Elicit help from the family. Children at any age can help. A 3-year-old can shred lettuce. A 9-year-old can fry an egg and be part of the process. Mom's mad. Mom's mad. Oh boy. Oh boy. Mom screamed at me in the kitchen. I have terrible memories, bad experiences in the kitchen. I was yelled at because when I was making my cookies growing up, I was yelled at, I made a mess, I didn't want to be in the kitchen. Later on, we might have experimented with friends making us a lasagna. It burned. They laughed at us. That day on, I'm not a natural cook. I don't want to do this anymore. We might not have even been conscious, but along our own journeys, we might have had experiences that kept us out of the kitchen. How do you get back in? Rewrite your own narrative through your children. Have positive experiences with your children. Consciously show them how patient you are. You're not critiquing them. Have them be a part of the process. And that by doing that, we're also helping ourselves feel more comfortable. Educate our family about positive feedback. Children, I am trying to learn how to cook so we can all be healthier. Whatever I cook, don't say this is disgusting. You can say something like, boy, that charred chicken has such a beautiful, shiny, black sheen to it, Mom. Forgive others. In our own past, people might have, again, yelled at us or made us feel badly in the kitchen, or an old boyfriend could have criticized something that we made. We could say, oh, poor Johnny, he just didn't know how to talk to women. He's probably somewhere, single and alone and miserable right now. Forgive him so we can move on. Oh. She wasn't perfect in the kitchen. She's in trouble. I need to be perfect in everything I do in life. Create a supportive audience. Do not make your first attempt at a dinner party for Bill Clinton, who's coming over. Invite your most supportive friends and family to your house, or one person. It might be your friend Leslie, who always says something nice to you, and you want to cook for her first. Know that cooking is not innate. This is vital. Historically, women were the only cooks. They were taught how to cook by their community, by their mom, and they had to. If they didn't, they would die. So it's very important that we realize we don't live that way anymore. We are not born with a frying pan and a spatula in our hand. Cooking is a learned skill, and the more we come to terms with that, the more we will not have these expectations of ourselves to be an amazing cook once we leave the womb. All right, this leads us to the gender conflicts, the resentment that we're expected to cook. I'm not my mother. So many of us, in the work that I do, I'm hearing this constantly. I have a master's degree from Harvard. I don't need to be in here when the going gets tough and they're trying to learn how to cook. I don't need this. I don't need this. I work 2 jobs. I'm tired. I don't need to do this. But there's a conflict because we want to be able to provide this for our family. So how do we do this? Again, Look for incentives to cook. Why do we want to do this? We do want our kids to be healthy. We want to be healthy. We want to save money. We want to take care of everyone. What's more feminist than cooking? You're self-sufficient, you're providing these great nutrients and these experiences for your family, and you're teaching the next generation how to be self-sufficient. Encourage our family appreciation. Again, part of our conflicts are that we don't feel valued, we don't feel appreciated in the kitchen. It's the most important thing for our health, to have this cooking lifestyle. So talk to the family about this. Again, tell them to value you, to say thank you. Tell your spouse or your partner or your family members, please, say thank you when I serve you. Tell mommy thank you. She cooked for you. What a great thing. So the last thing I want to leave you with is, this is the first generation to conceivably never eat a home-cooked meal, okay? We need to think outside the box. I'm wearing an apron. A lot of people have psychological obstacles to aprons. You might have laughed a little when I put this on. Maybe you've overcome your psychological obstacles to aprons. We need to put on our aprons. We need to get our hands first clean, then dirty by cooking. And we need to take back our kitchens for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, and for future generations. Thank you.